What's up, family, friends, and foes? It's your girl, Philly Cigar Joint.
And you got Chief, bringing you another episode of Sticks, Brims, and Stilettos. So you know what time it is. Grab your glasses and your sticks, and let's get ready to smoke another hot topic. Welcome back, family. It's been a week since we last had an opportunity to spend some time with you, but me and Philly are back once again, and we are back with lots of hot topics to talk about. Our last show was good. We got a lot of feedback on that last show. Philly, how you doing this evening?
I am feeling wonderful. How are you this evening?
I am doing quite well. Well, I don't think we talked to the family since we had the Super Bowl, right?
Right. Oh, you're right. Boo. Now, I will say, out of the two teams, if I had to go with one, y'all, I can't go against Andy Reid. Former Philadelphia Eagles coach. I will always forever be an Andy Reid's fan. So big shout out to Andy Reid. Well, I will say this. Let me cut you off real quick.
All right, cut me off.
I know one thing, Travis, if you ever get up in Andy Reid face like that again, we are going to have a problem. That was highly disrespectful, but I'm glad you recognized that and you made a public apology. Unnecessary.
As he should have. So, Philly, what's going on? Before we get into everything, let's remind our viewers, our family members of our sponsor, Huck Spirits, that you see on the screen, www.huckspirits.com, where you're going to get the most absolutely delicious sangria. I believe yours is the cherry bourbon.
Cherry bourbon.
Yeah. And I like the Love Deluxe. Yes. So tune in and sign in and log on to huckspirits.com, and don't forget to put in the code SBS for Sticks, Brims, and Stilettos, the promo code. You put that code in, you're going to get a discount off your bottles, and you get a chance to take care of a special. So don't forget, huckspirits.com. Philly.
Yes.
It's been a lot going on.
Yes, it has. But before we get into that, as you all can see, I am channeling the Chief tonight.
Yeah.
With my custom brim and my shades this evening.
Absolutely. And I did get that custom brim for you.
Yes, you did.
I think over a year ago.
This is my first time wearing it.
Yes, it is. And it looks lovely on you. And I like it with your whole entire outfit. Come here, let me see what you got going on here, girl.
Yeah. Stilettos.
Yes.
Yeah. Steve Madden, you better go get you some, ladies.
All right. Oh, you looking lovely there.
Thank you.
What is that? Those snakeskin boots there?
Yeah, my little Steve Madden. I call these my fun boots. I love these colorful fun boots because I can dress them up, dress them down, and basically I can wear anything with these and keep it sexy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I call them fun boots too.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Let's get all the way into it.
We got a lot going on. We already mentioned the whole Travis Kelce thing. We got the whole situation going on with Fani or Fani, depending on what part of the country you're from, down in Georgia.
Fulton County District Attorney.
Fulton County, Georgia. Yeah, District Attorney.
Fulton County.
Yeah, a lot of things are emerging from that.
Yeah, I mean, last week was really interesting when she took the stand. First, when Nathan Wade took the stand, then his partner took the stand, and her ex so-called best girlfriend threw her under the bus. But I went back and I looked at the whole testimony of both Nathan Wade and Fani Willis, and if I can be candid, I think at times she was borderline disrespectful. I thought she was a little aggressive, a little combative, I would say. I mean, she had the sister girl attitude on deck, and she was ready. She was about the business. Like, she was sitting like, I wish a jigger would.
Yeah.
The entire testimony, I wish a jigger would.
Yeah.
You want it, now I'm giving it. Don't place an order if you ain't ready to be served. And she was serving.
She was.
But was that the appropriate time and the appropriate way to serve? Because I do think at times, I think the judge was very lenient, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the judge gave a lot of leeway. I was a little surprised.
He did, but he did warn her twice. I was
a little surprised, having been in courthouses all my life in law enforcement, at her conduct as an officer of the court.
Yes.
And in her jurisdiction, she represents the highest office of the court.
Yes.
So, just some of her vernacular on the stand. Yeah, if somebody loan me a G, I'm gonna give them back $1,000. Somebody loan me 2 G's, I'm gonna give them back 2,000. Like, I just don't think. I think that's the conversation you have
with your sister girl.
Yeah, when you in a different environment. Right. I don't know if you take the stand as the lead attorney for Fulton County, Georgia, and you really, have that type of decorum and that type of delivery, and using those vernaculars from the stand.
And she's a very, very intelligent, savvy woman, and I'm quite sure she knows about code switching. So I truly believe, in her defense, she was just sitting on ready. Yeah. And she stated that when she first sat down, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. And
she said, I want it to be here.
I think she even testified against her attorney's advice as well. So
she was sitting on ready. She was itching to get in that seat. So it wasn't about code switching. It wasn't about professionalism. It was about her goal on that stand, in my opinion, was to give them the business. That's what I said. She wanted to stand on business when she was on that stand.
So when you talk about standing on business, let's talk about how we even came to see her on that stand in the first place. Yeah. So, mixing business, pleasure, professional. What do you think about that, Philly?
But I don't agree with that. I never agreed with that. I mean, to each his own, but it's a phrase that I live by, that my mama have said since I was a child. She said, you don't eat where you ish, and you don't ish where you eat, period. So, and that is the primary reason why she was called to the stand, because her personal interfered, or she allowed her personal to interfere with her professional. But let's put that to the side just for a second, because what you said, like you said earlier, I had the opportunity to listen to her entire testimony, and outside of the trial itself, she made some comments or some quotes that some of them are going viral now, and one of them, which, another thing, let's get into it, something my mama always taught me. She said that her father has always told her, always make sure you have cash on hand. And my mother has always told me that no matter if you're going out on a date, if he's paying, or even if you're going out with your girlfriends, if you're going out at all, you make sure. It was 2 things. And this is, I'm going way back in the day. I'm showing my age. And for you in the Philadelphia area, our public transportation is SEPTA. My mama always said, make sure you have a quarter. The quarter was for me to use the payphone to call, to make an important call. And 2, at least 50 cents to get back home, which was our public, to get on SEPTA to get back home. So at all times, make sure you have a few dollars at all times. So, and some people didn't agree with that. So you can talk about your experience you had when you disagreed with someone who disagreed with what she said. They didn't agree with it. They thought it was stupid.
Yeah, so there's a gentleman that I used to be Facebook friends with.
Until a couple days ago.
I responded to something that he had on his Facebook page about the portion of Fani's testimony where she said her father always told her to keep money, $200 or whatever. So he came in. He was berating her. She should be ashamed of herself. Her father should be ashamed. Why don't you make sure you're dating men who aren't, reckless? All this craziness, like this foolishness. So I responded to him. And in closing, I told him I just thought that I felt his statements were ridiculous, given the world that we live in. Not even just about dating, but you just never know what's going to happen when you leave your home. Not just dating. You know, so people are told things by their parents. Like, for instance, when I started driving and I started working, right? And it's just my experience. So this in no way, shape speaks to anybody else's. But my father told me to keep a $100 bill in an envelope taped to the bottom part of my glove box, right? And, you know, just have some other things over top of it, right? And that $100 bill in that glove box was not to be touched, and it would be there for an emergency. Now, did I always have a $100 bill in my glove box? That's another story. However, the point is, that was the advice that was given.
Absolutely.
I have a 30-year-old daughter, and my daughter better have some money on her when she goes out with her girlfriends, when she goes out on a date, when she goes out anywhere. Absolutely. Have some, because you just don't know what type of emergency you're going to face. Right.
And that's more about for you, not the characteristics of the person that you're going out with. It doesn't have anything, if you're being honest, about that person. It's about you protecting yourself and be in the security of yourself. So that's something my mama always told me. Like, I don't care, you know, always have your own. So when she said that resonated with me right away. I was like, yup. Because you heard me and I was watching. I said, that's what my mama always said. Always make sure you have enough money to at least make a call back in the day, or, you know, now you use your cell phone, or get back to your destination.
And I think society is, to be honest with you, I think technology has made society both safer and more dangerous.
Yes.
You can't go to that phone booth anymore. You can't go to that pay phone and drop a quarter in, or I mean, by now it would probably be a silver dollar, but anyway, you can't go to a payphone and drop it in. So if you're out somewhere and your phone breaks, your phone falls in water, whatever the situation is, and you know you're somewhere where you don't have access to you know, other technology or means, like you can't just go to the near, like you used to know where to find phone booths.
Right.
You found phone booths outside of convenience stores. You found phone booths near bus stops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You found phone booths on the wall of a 7-Eleven back in the day.
Right.
And so you can't find that anymore. No.
Right. So, you know, that was one thing that resonated with me during Miss Willis' testimony. And then it was something else. And, you know, as you all know, we have our Sticks, Brims, and Stilettos Facebook page. We have our TikTok page. And we have been getting a lot of conversations, because I did post some quotes from Miss Willis' testimony. And we have been garnering a lot of conversation around them. And the one thing she stated, and I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. So she was asked, when did her romantic relationship / friendship end with Mr. Wade? And she really had to think about it. She said, well, let me think about that. She said, well, let me see. If you were to ask him that, he probably would say June or July. Because that was the last time we were intimate. But if you ask me, it would be August, because that's when we had to have that tough conversation. Then she paused. She said, because men think differently. Men feel as though the relationship is over after you had that last sexual encounter. And for women, it's over after they have that tough conversation. So I found that very interesting. So as a man, so I have to ask you, do you agree with that statement? Like, how do you feel about that statement?
I don't fully agree with that, but I can't qualify what she says. She's not a man, so she can only put forth her best effort in thinking about. And I think her stuff was just too general. Maybe that was specific to him.
Okay.
But as a man, having had breakups before, I can certainly tell you that I did not. That's just saying that men are purely physical beings, right? And that women are operating from that emotional and that feeling standpoint, right? Now, the whole men, Mars, women, Venus, I get it. However, she brushed that particular brush or stroke with too broad of a brush.
Okay.
No.
So you don't.
I don't believe that the relationship is over once you had the last physical sexual encounter with a female. No.
Right. And I think when you really peel back the later layers a little bit more, to me, if I could be frank, it sounded like she was really defining a situationship, not a relationship.
Oh yeah. Well, it was clearly. It was
I'm saying even with her thinking like that.
Yeah.
With Mr. Wade.
Yeah.
To me, you already putting it out there. I mean, and everybody already. Oh, she had to pay for him. She was a side chick. She was a sugar mama. Paid cash. But we all know why she saying she paid cash. Right. That's to cover her ass. Yeah. Okay, and we being serious, right? Because we know for a fact that woman did not pay cash. She paid with, you know what. But anyway, to me that's more defining of a situationship, not a relationship.
No, I agree. I agree. Because if you can't gauge where both people understood that there was no longer a situation going on, then I would say that would be a situationship.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then there was another quote that she I can't quote it verbatim, but if I were to summarize it, she basically said she didn't need a man for anything. She doesn't need a man to pay her bills. She's an independent woman. She don't need a man to foot her bills. The only man that ever foot her bills was her father. To me, I get it, but it's almost like a double-edged sword, and I think this is one of the reasons, unfortunately, in the black community when it comes to the independent woman, because that's how black men and most men perceive us. So that's why some men are afraid to step to us. If you are a well-established woman who is independent, some men are fearful of that. They think some independent women are too assertive, too aggressive, too demanding, too mannish. So to me, that statement, I don't really know how I feel about that. I understand in the context that she said it, but again, I think that is one of the problems that we run into in the black community when it comes to dating.
And the one thing you left out was strong. Right.
And strong, true.
Right. So I'm gonna be honest. When I have run into women, now here's what I know about you. Mm-hmm. You are a very strong, and when I say that, I think about it in the context of someone that's not gonna just let the world run you over. Mm-hmm. That you have the ability to strategize and think your way through things. Right. That you have the ability to take care of yourself, provide for yourself, and be a sustainable individual. Right. So in that vein, that takes a certain level of strength for all people. Agreed. So because of that, you don't have to be running around talking about I'm a strong woman. Right. And to your credit, like, I have never heard you say that, but yet I know that you possess strengths. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that you possess strengths, because if something were to happen, right, as my mate, I need to know that you have strengths in certain areas, right? Mm-hmm. Not every household can say that. I remember when I lived in Florida and I dated someone whose mom had been totally taken care of since her 20s. Mm-hmm. And her dad passed away. Her dad took care of everything. Her mom didn't really have the wherewithal to pay the bills and put her hands on everything, because he took care of all that. Right. She didn't even know where to start to take care of the vehicle, because he took care of all of that. Now here's what I would say to that. It's okay for him to take care of all that, but you still got to build capacity in other people. Absolutely. Right? Other people have to have the ability to grab the torch if you need to pass it. Right. And so my mother is your mother, a strong black woman. Right. But I never heard my mother running around proclaiming and professing I'm a strong black woman. Right. To me, when I hear women speak like that on their own volition, that indicates there are a lot of weaknesses there, to me. Right. To me. Because a lot of insecurities. Right. If that's what you're leading with. I'm a strong black woman. Okay, so what? Right. When I meet a woman, like, what does that mean? Like, I ain't ready to get into an arm wrestling contest with you. Like, why the hell I need to know how strong you are? Why do you need to tell me how strong you are?
Son, you better watch
out. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, so getting back to your point, yes. And see, women want to have it both ways. Some.
Yes, please clarify.
Some want to have it both ways. They want to tell you how strong they are. And then when they notice you not stepping in to do certain things, then they want to complain, right? Or whether they complain to you or their girlfriends. You know what? Girl, you know, such and such and such and such. You know he didn't step in to do X, Y, and Z. Did you know he didn't step in to do X, Y? Well, listen, you can't have it both ways. Stop telling me how strong you are. Stop showing me how much masculine energy that you have. And then when things go down, and stop if as a man, if I try to step in, stop saying, oh, I got this. Oh, I know how to do that. Oh, well, I was always told to make sure I could do this. That's fine. But if you want a man that's going to allow you to live in your feminine energy, at least during the time period that you're with him, then have the ability to fall back and don't feel like falling back is a weakness. And that's, I think that's what we're getting into here in this society, that we got a subset of women that think if they fall back, that they somehow showing some vulnerabilities to their strength.
So let me interject.
Go ahead.
I appreciate everything that you said, and I do agree with a lot of what you said. But let me just say this. As an independent woman who has been independent for a very long time, well over a decade, and one thing I can say, and if we're being honest here, when we first met, you told me, yo, fall back. I need you to be in your full femininity. But let me just say this. As a woman, when you are an independent woman, and especially when you've been one, and, you know, I don't even like to say independent. I can't even say that anymore because that has a negative connotation. Self-sufficient woman for so long, you get into this zone. It's called the survival mode. So especially when you're an independent woman, you're a single mom, you know, everything is on your shoulder, right? So I think sometime when women take that stance, it's not intentional. It's just that psychologically and mentally, they're still in that survival mode. And that's not something that you can turn off overnight. So sometimes you got to give independent women grace because they've been single for so long. It's going to take a little time and patience to allow them to live in their femininity. Because they have been so strong for so long. They have been the head of the house for so long. They have been just the sole provider of everything and the decision maker in their life for so long. So when they do find someone, they say, hey, babe, relax. Let me take care of this. They have to retrain their brain to fall back so they can live in their full femininity. So I don't always think it's intentional. I don't think it is a test of your manhood. I think it is solely based on having them get used to it. If you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, and I can appreciate what you're saying, but I want to draw a line where I think the separation occurs in this conversation. When a woman possesses the things that you're talking about in terms of this independence and the purpose and the reason that this independence was important as a part of survival, that shows up in her actions and her response to things, like you said. And you can tell as a man when those actions and those and being purposeful about what she does shows up with no intention, right, to question your masculinity or your position as a man. But here's where I draw the line of demarcation. yeah, you did come into our relationship with some of those characteristics, and yes, I did have a couple of conversations, you know, and say, hey, you can fall back when it comes to this. You can, I understand you've been taking care of these things, but I'm on the scene now, and we've decided that we're going to be an item. So here's where the line is drawn for me. I'm not talking about women who through their actions show, hey, I can get things done. I'm talking about the ones out here who constantly have to broadcast
or had to pump their chest.
Have to pump their chest.
Then that's
about how independent they are.
Yes.
How strong they are.
I don't need no man. Girl, let me go driving my S500.
And sometimes when they're speaking this way, they're speaking this way while they're simultaneously disparaging men, right? And sometimes it's not very overt when they do this disparaging type of thing, right? It could be very veiled in the language and the words that they say. Right. And so the reason that I could come to you and have those conversations, and we had those conversations where I'm like, nah, you know, I got this. Like the first time the first time I told you I was planning the trip, and I told you what time you need to be ready and how many days you needed to pack for, and then you start asking me all these other questions, and I was like, oh, I understand if you're asking questions from a safety perspective, but if you're asking questions from a planning and logistical perspective, you can fall back because I got all this taken care of already. Right now, you need to know location. You need to know some other things from a safety perspective to let somebody in the family know. Let your three brothers know. Your mom. I'm good with that. Right. But don't bleed into my planning, because if I said I got this and I planned something special for us, then I got this. And so, you know, you reluctantly that first time fell back, but thankfully,
now what do I do?
Oh, now you just say what time I gotta be ready and how many days I gotta pack for.
Yep,
that's it. And you and to your credit, after that first, and we did, and I intentionally didn't do anything very far away. You know, we only went a state away, but nonetheless, I planned it all out from A to Z. Right. And after that first time, it was funny because coming back, you were like, all right, okay. I will never start asking you about this, that, or the third. What kind of food we eating? Where we going? What we doing on this? Or what time are we like?
But see, you prove my point though, because really why I was asking, because to be honest, normally I am the planner. I am the one that's putting the folders together, doing the research, doing the planning. So, you know, again, you had to show me a little grace, you know, which you did. But yo, now I just say, okay, what time I got to be ready? And like you said, how many days? So I get that. So I appreciate that.
And prior to you, to be very honest with you, I walked away from a couple of situations where I was getting to know women that I actually, you know, for all intents and purposes, like them, you know, in terms of how the relationship was matriculating early on. But then when they start getting into this whole superwoman thing, they start getting into this whole I'm a strong woman thing, or as a man, you ask them to consider certain things, and you know, they look at you like, you know, what? This is how I've been doing things. This is how I do things. This is what it is. So at that point, that lets me know, like, I ain't up against your strong woman motto. You know what I mean? And I guess what? And I'm not a weak man because I don't want to compete with your strong woman persona. That don't in no way infringe on who I am as a man. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you go ahead and be as strong as you need to be.
Alone.
And I don't know if she's gonna be alone, because
I mean, without
she might find that man. Because guess what? I just happen to know this personally. There are some men who need those very strong women.
Yes.
There's some men who are very comfortable being led by those very strong women.
They're called beta men.
And there are some men that in a real comfort zone, right? And there are some women, they are happy with taking up that position. So when they leave the house, they strong, right? They go into that nice job. They gonna work all day, right? He might drop them off. And I know some real stuff like this. He might drop them off. He using the car all day. He riding around in the car. He's not riding around in the car looking for a job.
And sometimes he's not riding around in her car alone.
And sometimes he's not alone.
Yeah.
But she's strong. So long as she got that warm body and as long maybe some good sex, as long as she got that warm body, some good sex when she get home, she might even be coming in. She's so strong. She coming in while he been sitting at home playing PlayStation all day on the sofa.
She might bust a nut in him.
She coming home. Oh my God! Right. She got him in the buck with the bottom of his feet facing the ceiling. Okay. She's so strong. She coming in. She cooking dinner.
Right.
And everything. She's so strong. She telling them what they go do on the weekend or whatever. And there are some men, they totally comfortable with that. Right. I ain't that man. So you take all that strong stuff. You take all that strong stuff to the gym with you, and if that's constantly got to be your commentary, you constantly have to reassure yourself and reassert to a man how strong you are. Right. I don't even want to be like that's energy, right? That's a certain type of energy. I don't want to be up against that energy, and that has nothing to do with my masculinity, my manhood, or my strength as a man. I just ain't dealing with that.
Yeah, a lot of men aren't.
I ain't dealing with that.
Respectful, strong, secure men. They're not going to tolerate that. They may tolerate it for a minute, especially if the nana is good.
Oh yeah.
Because you know how y'all like to, y'all tolerate certain things for that. Yeah, but people, even that is going to get old.
Oh yeah, that's not going to sustain.
That's not going to be sustainable.
I mean, for some people, it will. It depends on how. It just depends. For me,
he'll stay, but he'll cheat. Let's keep it a bean.
Yeah. Okay, and there's some people that are extremely good horizontal, but the minute they go vertical, there's nothing there. And I mean, I admit I've been in a few horizontal relationships, and but when you start to want more, right, because only few things happen when you're horizontal in life. Most things happen when you're vertical, upright and walking. Right. You only do a few things when you're horizontal. Right. Sleeping and some other stuff. Right. And so if you can't build with a person while y'all walking upright in a vertical position, then you got to think about what the value of that situation is.
Situationship.
Yeah. I agree.
Exactly what it turns out to be.
That's what it turns out to be.
Yeah, so going back to Fani Willis' testimony, she had some quotes in there. I was like, whoa, no, I never thought about it like that. Or, so I found the whole testimony, hers as well as Nathan Wade, really interesting. And just to switch gears for a minute, especially when the question was asked, what did you ever go away with her in a cabin or somewhere on a camping
Did you
trip?
ever stay at a cabin?
Did you ever stay in a cabin? And I'm looking at bro, because I'm really tuned in to this testimony. I lied to you not. Dude must have looked up in the ceiling for about 60 seconds before he answered that question.
And the memes that social media, the internet wins again.
Oh my goodness.
Because the memes that were created from that guy looking up in the sky like that.
Yes. And I'm like, well, you're going to, and then he finally said, no. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
The whole,
it's unfortunate. This
hearing was interesting.
There's no case that she would ever have as a district attorney that's larger than litigating a case against the former president of the United States. Yeah. There is no larger case that I could see her having in Fulton County, Georgia. Yes. And this may be a fumbled opportunity, in her career.
Absolutely. And again, that's why I go back to, you have to watch the office romances, or even being involved with someone who has the potential to be your subordinate or your boss.
I think you have to, I agree with you. And I also, to a greater degree, think that you really have to do an analysis of relationships that can cause conflict of interest in any area of your life.
Absolutely.
You have to be mindful of those relationships that can cause a conflict of interest. Now, if a relationship exists and things develop or things happen, then at that point you have to take an assessment. You have to take an analysis of how you move forward in those situations.
Right.
But
and it's coming out more and more that is exactly what it was. They were already romantically involved before his firm acquired the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, that's where she effed up. I had to do the Bill Duke. You done effed up now, right? You done effed up, because at that point, that was the time for her to make that decision.
Yep. And that was an opportunity for him as a man. And I don't know all the particulars, whether it was him directly getting a contract or a firm, but at some point to recuse him. So that's where you have to stand up. That's where you have to stand up and be a man and protect a woman that you care about, even if she's not your woman, but if she's a woman in your sphere that you care about. So then at that point, that's when you have to step up and help her protect herself. So there's money involved here. There's gifts involved here. There are all kinds of things being said. But the moment that he was given the opportunity to be a part of the largest case in her life, the moment that opportunity was extended to him, these are attorneys. These are people that we count on to be what? To be critical thinkers.
Yes.
Right? These are people that we count on to be what? Investigators.
Right.
Right? These are people that we count on to be able to read and understand, not just a book, read a room, read a situation, and read a case brief. Right. So if we count on you to do all these things, then we count on you to be able to make sound and prudent personal and professional decisions.
So let me interject there if I can. And as we had this conversation before, and this is where the lines get blurred.
Yeah.
Okay? Because once you're intimate with someone, and especially I'm gonna go there, if somebody's blowing your back out, okay, and now you're in this situation where you have to make a professional decision, because now this person may be intertwined with you professionally in addition to you personally. I agree. That is where she should have made that hard decision. But I'm gonna be honest with you. What did dude really had to lose? Dude had a big old contract. Was over $300,000 contract with the DA office. It was a big come up for him. At the end of the day, when you look at it from his perspective, why would he? So to me, the onus was on her. But again, you getting your back blown out, you having that pillow talk. Who's to say, and I'm quite sure, I know for a fact that they had conversations, whether it was brief, if it was extended,
of course,
if it was extended, but if it was after some mind-blowing sex and this pillow talking, dude said what he had to say to make sure sis didn't say nothing, because dude wanted to secure that contract, and not only that, elevate his career and his business career. So again, this is why it is that you don't really want to get yourself in that situation, because look at it now. Her career is at stake. Not so much his, maybe his reputation a little bit. Oh, he going to get past that though.
Well, if it can be proven that either one of them perjured themselves,
if it could be proven,
then
but
their license could be at stake.
Yeah, but it's more so on her.
Yeah.
She's the DA. Yeah. She's the one that extended that contract to him.
Yeah.
So why would he push back? He got the best of both worlds. He blowing the back out and getting the best contracts. So why would he say anything?
Right.
So, there you have it. So,
I didn't hear that as part of his testimony, though.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to, because it was kind of written all over. It was written all over her testimony. Okay, dude didn't have to say much on that. But that 60-second pause, it said a lot too.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby.
No.
You've never gone to a cabin with Miss
No.
Was that in Belize or was that on a cruise? What? Well, oh, that's when we went to California. Oh, we went so many places.
Right.
No. But anyway, I really wanted us to really dig a little bit into the hearing, because she did drop some quotes that made me go, and just made you think about, the blurred lines when you cross professional and personal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, I think this was another great discussion. So if you have any comments, questions, please drop them down below in the chat. We'll love to hear from you. And what is your opinion about the hearing? How do you feel about Fani Willis, Nathan Wade? Tell us how you feel about the hearing.
Tell us how you feel about these strong women.
Oh Lord, not just strong women again.
Self-sufficient. Don't need a man for nothing. Women.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to leave it there. So thank you for joining. Until next time, take care. Peace.